Hey, it's Jonathan, and I'm starting a new channel, changing this ambiguous Deep Questions Dark Chocolate channel into something more focused called Quantum Physics Healing Humanity. And I'm doing that because all the great spiritual thinkers are awesome in helping us figure out our spiritual lives. But if the world succumbs to any of these, their big four existential threats that are getting very real here in the future, we won't have this awesome planet on which to grow. So I know no one likes scaring them. I'm going to focus way more on solutions, but there does seem to be a need to know what we're facing. And if you're paying any attention these days, you know. When it comes to climate change, a great school in Australia, Monash University, the 37th ranked school in the world, they did a study that 5 million people per year already are being taken out by the effects of climate change. And when it comes to AI, the best experts think we have an 80% chance of it turning out well, which means we have a 20% chance of humanity going down to AI in some form. To me, that's not okay. If you saw the movie Oppenheimer, you understand the very serious nature of nuclear war right now. And we have some very elderly and perhaps not balanced guys with their fingers on the nuclear buttons right now. And then we have the threat of autocracy worldwide in the United States, where our president has taken the Army and the Department of Homeland Security up to 80,000 guys in case they're needed to take down protests in the streets against martial law. So again, I can get my personal life all in order, but in 2025, that's not enough with these four big challenges. We have to care for the collective and understand that our infinite loving creator is downloading love and moral courage into the hearts and into the core of our leaders and citizens. So if we do this, if we really truly respond to spiritual facts like this, like Neville Goddard did with fiery brooding or a smoldering intensity, what we can do can never be measured, but it might impact the whole cosmic soup of human thought so effectively that we actually do bring on the spiritual awakening that many spiritual thinkers are predicting and believing is coming. And so this YouTube channel will focus on what we can do to support and perhaps impel this spiritual awakening. So Niels Bohr, the guy behind me, he lived in Copenhagen, Denmark from 1875 to 1962. He founded the Institute of Theoretical Physics at the University of Copenhagen. In 1922, he won the Nobel Prize. And if you saw the movie Oppenheimer, you know he had a prominently historical, accurate role in that movie and in life. So one of his famous quotes, not the one behind me, but one of his famous quotes is, "Anyone who is not shocked by quantum theory has not understood it." It is a truly shocking thing to think that as real as this whole material world seems to us and how we deal with it every day, nothing really exists unless you and I observe it. And yet that's precisely what all the great quantum physicists like Niels Bohr, Planck, Einstein, Heisenberg, they're all telling us that. Einstein tries to articulate it by saying it's as if your observation causes something to be there. It's as if your observation causes something to be there. That's what was blowing his mind. And so he's describing the observer effect. And if I boil it down, quantum physics and the observer effect down and simplify it, it simply means that just what you and I think about our world and humanity and our future and our leaders, all that, what we're thinking matters way more than we think, way more. And perhaps if we consecrate ourselves to sending out love with our broadcasting thoughts, a lot of people believe with scientific evidence that our thoughts are broadcast, we might be making more of a difference than we can really even comprehend at this point. So there's this great PhD author, Lynn McTaggart. She wrote The Power of Eight and the Intention Experiment. Great book. And she said to think is to have effect. To think is to have effect. So all of our thoughts are having effect whether we know it or not. People can feel our thoughts in our work teams, our work environments. I think a lot of people have felt evidence of that. And one of the best books on quantum physics I've come across is Bruce Rosenbug's Quantum Enigma. And this is his overall commentary on quantum theory. He says, quantum theory has been subject to challenging tests for 8 decades. No predictions by the theory have ever been shown wrong. It is the most battle-tested theory in all of science. It has no competitors. Nevertheless, if you take the implications of this theory seriously, you confront an enigma. The theory tells us that the reality of the physical world depends somehow on our observation of it. This is hard to believe. It's hard to believe, but it's true. And so, if it's true, what does that mean for our lives? I find it fascinating that quantum physics is literally the most tested theory in all of science. It has no detractors. Nobody's saying it's not true. So we're not wackadoodle to believe that the attitude we bring to how we actually observe anything, including a nation or a group of people we don't like, that has actual tangible effect that brings change, maybe even healing. And it's rarely obvious how it changes things in people. The universe does have its secrets, but clearly it does. You may have seen a lot of articles and YouTube videos describing the well-known mind-bending double slit experiment, where they shoot light photons through two slits. And the electrons and quantum particles literally behave differently when they're being observed as opposed to when they're not. When they're observed, they're particles. When they're not observed, they're particles. When they are observed, they're waves of probability. So on one level, it just doesn't make logical sense, but on another level, it's precisely what's happening in the world. And again, this is astounding. But the most significant concept to me comes from Niels Bohr, where he wrote the quote behind me: "When we measure something, we are forcing an undetermined, undefined world to assume an experimental value. We're not measuring the world, we are creating it." So everything is unformed until we observe it. And we're not measuring the world with all of our scientific experiments. We are creating it with our thoughts, our expectations of each other, how much we're loving each other as opposed to fighting each other. So let that one sink in. It's amazing. Our thoughts literally create the world and humanity's experience of it. This is the most life-changing idea or quote I've ever come across in my life. It's why I had this poster made, and there are 2 more of them in my apartment, so I see it all the time. So I'm really aware of how much what I'm thinking matters. And there's also some authoritative historical precedent for this concept from the Buddha, who said in a very similar way, about 500 years before Jesus, that with our thoughts, we create the world. With our thoughts, we create the world. So that's an intro to this YouTube channel. I start this channel, I think, because we need to do this. This is about the survival of our species. And I have a daughter, and she's thinking about starting a family, and I can't bear the thought that one of these things could harm their future. And if we get these things right, there are many thinkers like Peter Diamandis who believe we are truly headed for a future of abundance, true abundance, when robots do our mundane chores and goods and services become much, much less expensive. And those robots they're coming. They're already at work in some factory, a lot of factories around the world. So I hope you'll join me in supporting the true possibility of this kind of future. And I close with a quick take on a gospel story I was just pondering. It's Mark chapter 9, where a father, a very faithful father, brings his son to Jesus, and his son is possessed with an evil spirit. He throws himself into the fire and into the lake and harms himself. And Jesus says to him, "If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth." And the father responds, "Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief." Then Jesus heals the man. So lately, I've been taking in the teachings of thinkers like Neville Goddard, who believe that we have a conscious mind and a subconscious or unconscious mind, where our beliefs about what is possible in this life on this earth have been shaped by our experience, especially by our childhood experiences. And so that father needs to become able to blow the limits off what he believes is possible, that all good things are possible to God, and that Jesus or God truly can cast out this evil spirit out of the boy in his subconscious. So that he knows, he believes at one level, but on a subconscious level, he probably doesn't. And obviously, those limits are lifted off the father, and the boy has a beautiful healing. So perhaps humanity can take these big 4 challenges and truly fix or heal them with inspired solutions. Then we would all have a world where we'd be proud to hand off to our children. And that would make life so sweet. So I hope you'll join me in this effort. 2 summers ago, I wrote a book about this and put it on Amazon. And this is what it looks like on Amazon. It's called "But What He Seeth the Father Do." Because when I do my best to turn to God and ask, what can we do about these massive issues? The answer I always get back is, you can't do anything. But the omnipotent creator truly can. So respond to what this loving creator is doing and can do. And because Jesus says the son can do nothing of himself but what he seeth the Father do. So even Jesus is saying, I can't do anything. It's all God. And we can rejoice in that. So I'll be discussing some of those ideas in that book in these videos to come. And I'll be making these videos more professional. And I'll obviously be trying to get this channel and these ideas out there in public thought so that we can all rise to this challenge. So if you watch these videos all the way through, click like and subscribe and put in a comment. That tells the YouTube algorithm to get it out there, and then who knows what might happen. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time.